In the next section, you're going to respond to questions that were submitted by the sponsoring organizations. Each question will be directed to 2 candidates, and you will have 1 minute to respond. So the first question from the San Francisco Alliance for Arts Education is going to be for Kim and for Matt. And here's the question from the San Francisco Alliance for Arts Education. Research has demonstrated that the arts can play a critical role in closing the achievement gap between African American and Latino students and their Asian and Caucasian peers. How is the SFUSD acting on this data to reduce the achievement gap among our students? Or what are some new ways in which SFUSD could act on this data to reduce the achievement gap? So now we'll hear from Kim.
I absolutely believe as a public school teacher that the arts are really fundamental in our core. We need to make sure that arts are integrated into all of our curriculum, not just separated away. So arts are integrated into our math, into our science, into our literacy, into all of the core curriculum that we are providing. So I do believe that what San Francisco Unified can do better is to make sure that the arts that we are infusing into all our core curriculum is culturally relevant to especially our African American and Latino students. That's a great way through art and through music from culturally relevant art and music to engage students in a very meaningful way into the core curriculum.
Thank you, Kim. Matt.
Yeah, I absolutely agree as well. I think that, art, music, sports, media, technology, these are, as you all know, these are in a lot of ways the reasons why students love school and why they come to begin with, and what gets them interested in other subjects and what keeps them coming back and helps to instill in them a love for learning. And so we need to view the arts as what it is, which is essential. It shouldn't be something that sort of is the first to go when we have to make cuts. And so when we make choices as a district about how we prioritize funding, we need to make sure that art is treated that way, and that's what I would do. And I think, it's also expanding how we define what art is. Art now, as Kim said, can be integrated into different subjects, but also a lot of what art is now should also include media. A lot of it is new media. If you go and if you visit a lot of our schools, and some of the amazing things that are happening there are happening in new media, where students are utilizing video and they're utilizing sound technology and all of that. And I think we need to include that in our definition of art and make sure the funding and support is there for those things as well.
Thank you. The next question is for Jill and for Shamann. This is for parents for public schools. What roles should Proposition H, or PEEF funding, and Children's Fund funding play in strengthening the instructional core in our public schools, specifically at the elementary and middle school levels?
Well, we're going to have to reauthorize the Public Education Enrichment Fund and fix some of the things that we think are not adequate about it. For instance, the ability of the city to have pulled the trigger and cut and not funded 25% of the funding in a year when they actually had adequate revenue to have fully funded it. So that's one of the things that's really important, is that we learn how to protect the funding better. However, the Public Education Enrichment Fund, by its name and by its purpose, and I was one of the people that wrote that, is really meant to keep us from eliminating things that we believe are at the core of instruction, but that have been unaffordable and have been made more and more unaffordable as time has gone by the state's funding structure. So I think the most important thing we do with the Public Education Enrichment Fund is to actually demonstrate that enrichment is the core of our academic program, and the more we support it, the more that will be true.
Thank you. Shamann.
Again, the reauthorization for Prop H and actually for Department of Children, Youth, and Families will be up in a couple of years also. So first we have to make sure that these funds are protected and that we work together with the community, neighborhoods, and everyone in San Francisco for the advocacy of both of these pots of money. I play in this world. One thing that Jill said that we both agree on is you have to be at the table. I've worked for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. I've monitored programs for DCYF. I met with the DCYF director the other day to have this very conversation. Board of Supervisors are trying to get money into the schools. There has to be an understanding of the importance of the role that the department plays in the education of our students. And they have to be educated about what they can do to make sure that our students are successful. DCYF has already put money together for credit recovery programs in the future. They funded a tutorial job skills and life training program that we had some tremendous results with getting people to increase from F's to D's over this past summer. So it's, again, continuing to build those relationships and getting them to understand how valuable their resources are.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is for Sandra and for Rachel. This is from the San Francisco Parent PAC, and it's a slightly longer question, so let me know if you need me to repeat it. Do you support the Board of Education's vote on February 28th to skip seniority layoffs at the superintendent's own schools? Furthermore, what do you think of the comments made by Dennis Kelly, president of the United Educators of San Francisco, the San Francisco Teachers Union, at that meeting, when he threatened the commissioners who voted to skip seniority layoffs that this vote will not be forgotten or forgiven? In general, what do you do when teachers' unions oppose what the board and district is inclined to do? Is the question clear? Yeah, it's clear. Okay.
Want to go first?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was crystal clear.
And just remember, this was randomly selected. I just want
really?
to, seriously,
Oh,
really, truly,
jeez.
names out of a hat.
And I should have read my horoscope today. Anyway, so I just want to say that the vote on February 28th, and I think you all know which vote we're talking about, was a very difficult vote. It was part of the hardest vote that everyone on the board had to make. It, you know, if I didn't have to be there, I wouldn't have been there. It was a very, very hard vote. And I think I don't like to be threatened, so I'm just going to tell you off the bat, I don't like to be threatened. It doesn't work with my own husband, and he knows, and he is the love of my life. So the comments that I think President Kelly said, I think he said them out of anger, and I think he said them also out of fear that this was a vote that would be a majority vote with the board, and it was. So I want to. So my comment about the threatening is that I don't like to be threatened. I don't like to threaten people. And I think it's disrespectful in general of people to threaten people. So in hindsight, though, about the vote, I just want to mention a couple of things, is that I don't think when I took that vote, and I don't think any of the commissioners on that vote, when they were voting that night, I didn't think that we were going to bring down the unions of the United States. I think
Okay.
we were trying to save 14 schools, the integrity of 14 schools.
Thank you. Rachel?
Yeah, I'm going to just pick up where you left
Thanks,
off. That was a very, very tough vote. It was the toughest vote I've taken in 4 years on the school board. There have been other times that the teachers union and I did not see eye to eye. That vote was probably the one that, in their eyes, they feel is unforgivable. I have to take their, as a public servant, I have to take their input as I would take any other constituent's input. I mean, I respect their input. Their members are our employees. They teach my children. They're important. They have a stake. I recognize that. Parents have a stake. Children have a stake. Residents of San Francisco have a stake. So I have engaged in productive discussions with them over the years, listened to their input, sometimes taken their advice, and sometimes not. In this case, I did not. It felt very clear that it was a choice between what was a very important principle to adults and what was going to be best for children in 14 schools, and I chose the schools.
Thank you. The next question is for Beverly and Paul. It's from the 2nd District PTA, and it's shorter. Please describe one or two specific proposals about how SFUSD could better engage with parents at the district level.
Thank you. So the reason why we need to engage parents is because with parental involvement, increased parental involvement, we see a correlation of our students doing better. We have parents who are involved in their classrooms, and what we need to do is we need to really invite them in, whether it be email, by pigeon, by phone call. Even the phone calls really make sense nowadays. When was the last time you got a phone call from a teacher just inviting you in to get active. This is in addition to, of course, the normal course of mail that we get, but just by actively going out there and making a personal appearance from our teachers and our principals, I really feel that we can get our parents engaged. That's something that we try to do at our school. I feel that our parents are active, and I hope that this is something that we can do throughout the district.
Thank you.
Well, I think that the San Francisco Unified School District does its best right now to encourage parent involvement. You know, they send the mailers out in I don't know how many different languages. You know, they have all the school loops and everything like that. So it's there for the parents to get involved. But I think one of the main problems is sometimes the parents can't get there because the school is too far. If you have to take the 49 bus from City College of San Francisco all the way to Galileo, chances are you're not going to get over there too much, or vice versa. And so I think that for neighborhood schools, I think if a lot of kids were going to the schools in the neighborhoods where they lived, I think the parents would be more able to get to the schools, walk to the schools, to be close.
Okay, thank you. This question is for Sam and Kim, and it's from Chinese for Affirmative Action, and again, it's a slightly longer question. Schools are required to have English Language Advisory Committees, or ELACs, if there are more than 21 ELL students in the school. ELAC is a way for limited English proficient, or LEP, parents to get involved in the schools. If elected, what proactive measures will you take to recruit more parents involved, to recruit more LEP parental involvement? Was the question clear?
Yes.
Okay. So first we'll hear from Sam.
Kim and I sit on the bilingual committee, and Kim is the chair, and is a very good chair, and she has been a very strong voice for English learners' parents and their children. One of the things that I think that's opened up my mind, and it's very fascinating, this journey in running for the school board has created a lot of flashbacks in points in time. I came to this country learning, basically speaking only in Spanish, and my mother was an immigrant, didn't know the system. But someone knocked on her door from the school and sat her down over coffee to teach her the system. So there is no doubt in my mind that the people who speak the different languages, who are the liaison to immigrant communities that represent 33% of the student body of the 56,000 kids in our district, we need to multiply them. There's not enough liaisons into the immigrant community, and we have to do it soon rather than later.
Thank you.
This is a very personal question for me. For the past, my children all speak Spanish at home, so all three of them entered the San Francisco School District as English language learners, all designated as potential English language learners. For the past 7 years, I've been walking onto Flynn Elementary's campus. Flynn Elementary is one of the superintendent zone's designated schools. So I've been walking onto that campus with 40% of our students who are English language learners. For the past all these 7 years, I've been working on ELAC, and for the past 4 years, I've been working on the Bilingual Community Council. As a parent of EL students, I can tell you there's two things I really want. I want translation more, and I want it to be more consistent, and I want the district to take us seriously. And I can tell you in the past 7 years, it has been an uphill battle to make sure that the district takes us seriously, and I can say that we are getting a lot of traction now from all the advocacy we've done, and we want to make sure that continues.
Thank you. The next question is for Matt and Jill, and it's from the SF Education Fund, and it's shorter. What initiatives would you like to see undertaken to help teachers feel more supported in their work?
So I think that from the moment someone comes to our district as an educator, they have to be supported to be successful. And so we need to make sure that when someone is at our school site, that we have the programs where we have mentor teachers that are supporting them very closely, that those programs are supported by the district, that they're supported in all of our schools. Every teacher who comes into our schools needs to have a mentor that ensures their success. I think that's a big thing that would be important, but we should also make sure that teachers have pathways to leadership. You know, teachers are the experts within our schools. They should have a voice in the governance of the school. They should have a strong voice in what is happening in the district as a whole. And we need to make sure that their voice is valued at the school site. So we should support different models. Some of our schools have those. We should support those models inside the school so that our teachers can be leaders, so that their job doesn't look the same every year, so that they can become instructional coaches, so that they can step outside of the classroom and help other teachers be successful. I think setting up programs where teachers can have growth in their careers is an important thing to ensure that they're supported.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would agree with all those things. Most of them are things that we have that exist. Most of them are not as broadly available as we would like them to be, and getting less available because of the resources. So support is something that we all would say we agree that teachers need more support. We want to do whatever we can to support teachers, but it's something that actually takes resources. So actually I think the Ed Fund, which has a history of supporting teachers and focusing on what we can do to support teachers, has a real role to play in helping us to get the resources and to coordinate both private and public resources in support of teachers. I want to end just by saying, since my two colleagues had the opportunity to do this, that the vote we took this year was one of the main things that we were able to do without resources to support teachers. We were able to keep teams of teachers together, and for the work that they have done over time through the superintendent zones to be maximized and to be leveraged so that it can have more positive effects in the future. So support is hard to do without resources, but there are things to do, and sometimes they're very difficult things to do.
Thank you.